She was the sassy little sister who made millions laugh with one line. "Ooh, I'm telling mama." But behind that cheeky smile was a story of survival to tragedy and courage that few ever knew. From a near-fatal crash that took her father's life, 2 years spent in hospitals fighting to walk again, to a final quiet battle with cancer she kept secret until the very end. This is the untold truth about Danielle Spencer's life and what really happened in her final days. Danielle Louise Spencer was born on June 24th, 1965 in Trenton, New Jersey, and grew up in the Bronx. Her parents separated early, and her stepfather, Tim Pelt, an actor himself, became the guiding force in her life. He saw Danielle's spark before anyone else did. By the time she was 9, he had her in acting classes and auditions, and at just 11, she got the role that changed everything. Dee Thomas on the hit sitcom What's Happening? It was 1976. For the first time, primetime TV showed a group of black teens navigating life in Los Angeles' Watts neighborhood. And right in the middle of it all was little Dee, the sarcastic kid sister who could shut down her brother with one side eye. Her catchphrase, "Ooh, I'm gonna tell mama," became legendary. With razor-sharp timing and natural wit, Danielle turned Dee Thomas into one of TV's most beloved child characters. But just as her star was rising, tragedy struck. In September 1977, during filming for the show's second season, 12-year-old Danielle and her stepfather were driving along California's Pacific Coast Highway when disaster hit. A car crash left her critically injured and her stepfather fatally wounded. Reports later revealed that Tim Pelt had used his body to shield her during the impact, saving her life at the cost of his own. Danielle spent 3 weeks in a coma. When she finally woke, she didn't even remember the crash. Her legs, arm, and pelvis were shattered. Doctors told her she might never walk again, but she fought back. 6 months of hospitalization and therapy later, she returned to the set of What's Happening, smiling, acting, and hiding a pain no one else could see. Years later, she wrote in her memoir, "Us Through the Fire? I didn't even get to say goodbye to my stepfather, Daddy Tim, whom I loved." That moment, losing her hero and learning to move again, would define the rest of her life. When What's Happening ended in 1979, Danielle faced a crossroads. She could chase Hollywood, or she could chase something deeper. She chose education. After a year living in Africa with her mother, she came back to the US and studied veterinary medicine. First at UC Davis, then UCLA, and finally at Tuskegee University, where she earned her Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree in 1993. From child star to Dr. Danielle Spencer. It was a full circle moment, fulfilling a dream her late stepfather had always encouraged. She still returned to acting occasionally, appearing in What's Happening Now in the 1980s and even making a cameo in As Good as It Gets in 1997. But her heart belonged to animals. By the 2000s, she was living in Richmond, Virginia, treating pets, mentoring young vets, and giving advice on local TV. Hollywood had faded behind her, but her compassion was front and center. She once said, "I've been blessed with 2 wonderful careers, and animals are much easier to deal with than Hollywood executives." Behind that calm smile, Danielle was fighting battles most people never saw. The 1977 crash had left her with long-term damage. Decades later, in 2004, she started losing balance and feeling weakness in her legs. Doctors found spinal stenosis, a narrowing of her spinal canal, compressing her spinal cord. Surgery was risky but necessary. When she woke, she was paralyzed from the waist down. For 8 long months, she couldn't walk. But again, she fought back. At the same rehabilitation center that once treated Superman actor Christopher Reeve, Danielle slowly learned to stand and walk again. That experience changed her forever. She said it made her more empathetic, not just as a person, but as a doctor. "Now I understand what real pain feels like," she explained. Then, in 2012, her body betrayed her once more. Danielle started suffering intense headaches, so bad she could barely think. One day in 2018, she collapsed. Doctors discovered a bleeding hematoma on her brain, a delayed consequence of the crash that had nearly killed her 40 years earlier. She underwent emergency surgery and miraculously survived. Her family's fundraiser described it as the accident coming back to haunt her. And then cancer. In 2014, at age 49, Danielle was diagnosed with aggressive breast cancer. She was shocked. After everything she'd endured, this felt like too much. But she didn't crumble. Within weeks, she had a double mastectomy and came out victorious. Cancer-free. That same year, the Smithsonian Museum honored her legacy, enshrining a photo of young Dee Thomas among the pioneers of Black television history. Danielle was stunned. "That's something people will look at for years," she said. "Long after I'm gone." She didn't know how prophetic those words would become. By 2025, Danielle was 60. Still smiling, still fighting. But privately, she was facing her toughest battle yet: stomach cancer. She kept it quiet, even from close friends. Only family knew. That summer, her condition worsened. On August 1st, she was rushed to Chippenham Hospital in Richmond with what seemed like a routine infection, and it wasn't routine. Doctors found that a urinary tract infection had turned septic, spreading through her body. Her immune system, already weakened by cancer, couldn't keep up. Soon she developed pneumonia in both lungs. She couldn't eat and had to be fed intravenously. Her mother, Cheryl, stayed by her side day and night. On August 10th, Danielle was still talking and even smiling with visiting relatives. But that evening, her heart suddenly gave out. Hospital alarms rang. Code blue. Doctors revived her, but her body was failing. The next morning, August 11th, 2025, Danielle Spencer passed away, surrounded by family. The official cause: cardiac arrest brought on by end-stage gastric cancer. She was 60 years old. At first, the world didn't know. Her family kept the news private for a day, mourning in silence. Then, on August 12th, her former co-star, Haywood Nelson, who played Dwayne, shared the heartbreaking announcement online. He called her Dr. D, a brilliant, loving, pragmatic warrior. Fans flooded social media with tributes, but confusion swirled. Some thought her breast cancer had returned. Others speculated about her old injuries. A day later, her family cleared the air. Danielle had died from stomach cancer, not breast cancer. Once the truth was known, the rumors faded, replaced by love and respect. Ernest Raj Thomas, her on-screen brother, wrote a touching message: "No more suffering for my baby sister." He revealed that he'd been trying to bring her to Los Angeles so friends could care for her, but she wanted to wait until she'd healed from bed sores. Before that could happen, she was gone. Holly Robinson Pete, another former child star, shared, "Her Dee was hilarious. She just had that magic, walk on stage and everyone's already laughing." Fans on Reddit and Facebook posted her photos and quotes. One wrote, "She was the Don Rickles of child stars. Savage and funny as hell." Another said, "She made my childhood brighter." For many, her death felt like the closing of an era, another piece of 70s TV history fading away. Danielle Spencer's story isn't just a Hollywood tragedy. It's a story of resilience. She broke ground as one of the first Black child actresses to have a major sitcom role. She inspired generations of young viewers, especially Black girls, who finally saw themselves on screen. And when the fame faded, she built a second life filled with compassion and purpose. How many TV stars can say they healed living creatures after entertaining millions? Her photo now sits in the Smithsonian, reminding visitors that talent and integrity can coexist, that fame can be fleeting, but impact lasts forever. She endured paralysis, brain surgery, and cancer, yet kept her humor, her faith, and her empathy intact. Her brother Jeremy said it best: she remained positive, even in her darkest days. Ernest Thomas called her a woman of courage and grace. Haywood Nelson called her a cancer heroine. And fans? They'll always remember the little girl who made them laugh and the woman who inspired them to keep going. In the end, Danielle Spencer's story is one of light shining through darkness. She lived, she suffered, she healed, again and again, and never lost her spark. As reruns of What's Happening continue to play, a new generation will still laugh at Dee's sass and attitude, not realizing the extraordinary strength behind that small frame. Because behind every "ooh, I'm telling mama" was a survivor who taught us all what it means to endure, with humor, heart, and unshakable grace. Danielle Spencer was 60. Her story will never be forgotten.
Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.